It is officially preseason week 2 in the NFL. So much to talk about on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Yes, welcome back to episode 326 of the Purple Rain podcast. Been a long time since I've kind of been here, so I might be a little rusty, but thank you for coming through to this Thursday edition, this Friday Eve edition of the Purple Rain podcast. I see the chat is already showing out right now. A lot to talk about. Ravens Cowboys week 2. Got some information about that, but first and foremost, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast. This guy above me on Instagram or on X at Sutton Def. Me, Instagram simply as10.prod or on X at simply as10. And most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. Go in there, use code PRP for 20% off your whole order and free national shipping. The best deal on the internet. Sutton, I must ask you, how have you been? How are we doing? And how are we feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. I mean, honestly, this episode is not about me, not about me. You know what I'm saying? This episode is about you because the Rain Gang viewers are our Rain Gang family here. I know they've been missing you. They've been missing your takes. And you've been away for a little while. You've been away for a little while. It's kind of like that preseason vacation. You know, that the preseason hiatus that a lot of honestly sports broadcasters take right before the season starts. So I just want to know. We had a little chat about your time away and things like that. Maybe didn't enjoy that so much, but we're glad to have you back here in the fold with us with the Rain Gang family. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. Ravens football is back. I got soccer starting this weekend. The
Yeah.
sports are really coming up, and so is my stress
UFC.
levels. Yeah, we got UFC coming up. Big card. We got to talk about that. The whole CBS buying, Paramount buying that. A lot's happened since we last talked, but feeling good. We're here. I'm ready to talk some ball. Like some stuff, love some stuff, hated some stuff in the preseason, but we'll definitely be talking about that pretty soon.
Definitely, definitely. Of course, I want to start off the episode by letting you do kind of like a like it, love it, hate it as it stands right now with the Ravens. Before we get into that, a couple of housekeeping things. Again, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new here to the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel, we would love for you to join our precious Rain Gang here. We also do have memberships. Really quick, I do want to give a big shout out to all of our members here at the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. These are goated individuals, absolutely goated individuals. They will be popping up on the screen right now. We've got The Don, Tila M, Jing. We also have Haha Dix as well, and Chris M, all members of the Purple Rain Podcast membership group. And we appreciate each and every one of you guys. You guys will be shouted out every single episode, that is. So if you do want to become a member and get access to some more features that are coming during the season, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the membership as well. We'd appreciate it. Listen, so again, and oh, by the way, if you want to watch this, if you want to re-listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, you can do that as well. You can run it back in audio format. We're back on that. So I want to start with this, Alex. It's been a minute since you've been around.
Yes.
What, as of today, right? Because today is, I believe, Thursday, the 14th of August. Season starts in a little under a month. The Ravens have already played one preseason game. They won. They had a joint practice, right? They're gearing up to play the Cowboys in week 2 of preseason. Where do you stand right now with the Ravens? What do you like about the Ravens right now? What do you love about the Ravens right now? And what do you absolutely hate about the
Okay.
Ravens right now?
Hate is a strong word. Just let you know when I do use that, but I'll talk about it. But love, I'll start it off. I love the Ravens running back room. I'll tell you that right now. I was in the middle of the ocean watching Keaton Mitchell look like it was 2023 all over again. The burst was there, hitting the holes, making guys miss. Getting yards on 3rd and 1. I believe he converted, or a 2nd and short converted. I love seeing that, and I love that he won't have to play in games 2 or 3 because he made his roster. He is a stamp to make the 53. I think what we saw in that 1 or 2 drives was enough for me. That touchdown, more than enough. Speeds back, we're good there. Like special teams, that includes LeJontay West. I'm really happy with what he did, but I'm also happy with the way Tyler Luke bounced back after missing the field goal. Uh, I saw he's missed a couple, but it's kind of what I expected for a rookie kicker, making around 80% of his field goals, which kind of it's better than what Tucker was doing last year, if we're going to be completely honest. And then hate to go by is our right guard. Like I said, hate is a strong word, but I hate the coddling of him. I hate the way that this team is kind of just not giving him any competition. The fact that he's like the starter at right guard, he was awful in that game against the Colts, and I mean awful. I'm not trying to sit here and overreact. He was awful. I think he played 5 snaps and gave up 2 or 3 pressures. That is how you lose games in January. We've seen it before. So that's kind of just a short rundown. We can talk about them more in depth, but I'm just going to get out the way. I just hated the way that number 77 played. Um, he's not a starter, NFL caliber starter. May be a good guy, but it's hard to believe he's the best right guard on the team, unfortunately.
Yeah, Alex, and I think that the main thing is because I want to preface what I'm about to say with this. As the 2024 season was ending last year, me and you were talking a lot about how Daniel Faalele has come on strong and he's gotten a lot better. You actually went to a game yourself where you got to watch him in real time perform, and you said that he played a hell of a game. So to know that he went from being complete dog shit, right? For lack of better words, in the beginning of the 2024 season to actually coming on strong later in the season and finishing the season strong, you would have expected, right? You would have expected Daniel Faalele in training camp and especially in a preseason game, albeit the first preseason game, to dominate these guys that are out there that are trotted out in front of him. You know what I mean? Like, this is not the season for you to still be kind of I guess you could say growing and learning. Like, no, this is time for you to be an anchor at right guard. I
Yeah.
think that's what Ravens fans really, really do want. Especially considering you see guys like even younger guys like Roger Rosengarten, who's right next to him on the right side at right tackle. He seems to be more of an anchor right now than Daniel Faalele, who has more skin in the NFL than Roger Rosengarten. So it's basically kind of like a big, hey, bro, what's your excuse? What's your excuse? Like, I mean, we talked about all offseason how, okay, Daniel Faalele, he's shedding 15, 20 pounds. He looks lean. We see him in the gym, things like that. Okay, maybe his feet are going to be better. Nope. He put the same type of stuff on tape in that first preseason game that we pretty much saw all last season. Well, for a good amount of last season. Now, it's not to say that Daniel Faalele didn't put anything good on tape in the first preseason game. Not saying that at all. But I was listening to Kevin Ostreicher, who's a friend of the show. I was listening to one of his shows. He was saying that, the thing about Daniel Faalele is that his losses are very loud, right? They're very loud, they're very ugly, and they're very kind of just like, you didn't just get beat, you got exposed on that play. It's like one of those. It's like one of those where it's like, okay, I could see this issue rearing its ugly head in a playoff game, right? Where, on a big third down and long, and you just get absolutely dusted, and all of a sudden Lamar Jackson's running for his life, which we know he can do very well, and he can still make something out of nothing more than often, but it's just not conducive to winning football, or at least winning football in terms of how we see it, in terms of going to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sorry about my mic if it's low. I'm on a different computer, so just bear with me. Had technical difficulties. That's kind of why I'm kind of not in the best freaking mood. But yeah, and you're right. And that's kind of the fine margins that we've seen with this team. I hate to go back years ago, but in 2020, when Lamar threw that pick six, he had a guy wide open, but that protection let him down on that right side, and he had to throw it away quick and couldn't look through all of his reads. And fine margins, unfortunately. Andrew, thank you for that. It says, "What's up, Sutton? Great jersey collection." Simply, yeah. Thank you very much. I have him right behind me here. Um,
Yes, sir.
yeah, man.
Appreciate you, Andrew.
Thank you. But yeah, man, like that's a great point. The losses are very loud, and I hate for us to feel like it overreacts in that situation, but we've seen it in the regular season, and it rears its ugly head once, time and time again. And I hope I can get it fixed, but I don't know. I really don't know if he can. We're in year 4 now. Are you really a project in year 4? And I know you saw the whole tweet about how like the Harbaughs have known about him since 2016, which really, that had my blood boiling. I don't know if you saw the article.
Was hearing some, I guess, some static in your microphone. I'm not sure if it's on my end. Can you still hear me? Because I'm kind of having a
Yeah, I can
hard
hear you.
time hearing you. That's weird. It's kind of like choppy on my end. It's weird. Um, Try talking again. Say it again.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it sounds very robotic for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why. Might need to pop back out and pop back in. I think they can hear you, but I can't really hear you all that well. But yeah, I mean,
All right.
I guess
I switched
well,
to the AirPods.
uh, still weird. Everybody in the chat, let us know if you can hear Alex well. If you can hear me and Alex well, let us know in the chat because for some reason I can't hear Alex clearly. It's kind of weird, very weird. Honestly, sounds like a video game almost. I think Alex just disconnected really quick. He should be right back. He's probably gonna pop out, pop back in. Tanja said now it's worse on Alex's side. Oh yeah, it's probably just gonna pop back out. I mean, his computer went crazy while he was on vacation, so it's just he's kind of on the backup right now. And sometimes this is what backups do. Like Cooper Rush, for example. Like Cooper Rush did not perform well in that first preseason game. Cooper Rush is another guy who I know we're gonna be talking about a lot as well. Let me see if we can. Alex, can you say
Can you
something?
hear me now? Hello?
Okay, let me get rid of that. All right, yeah, maybe it's me. Maybe it's me on my end. I'm gonna try disconnecting really quick, and I'll pop back in. Okay.
All right, sounds good. Yeah. So going back, talking about what I liked about the first
Not
game,
really
I did
sure
like.
what that is. Hmm. Sorry about the technical difficulties, everyone. Just bear with us, please. Bear with us, please. I don't know if you guys can hear me any better. Jing says she can't hear anything. Dewis says Alex was better before. Yeah, just really weird, guys. I'm not exactly sure what is going on here. Hang on, let's try something. Let's try switching here. See if we can get Alex back in here. Very weird. Again, sorry about the technical difficulties. Tanja says they can hear me. Dre says, "What's up, Purple Rain Gang? What's going on, Dre?" Chris says you can hear me. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. So no, I guess it might just be Alex's computer right now. Maybe he's rebooting it or something. Not sure, but it is what it is. We all struggle with technical difficulties at some point in time. But I mean, no, like Alex was saying, we were talking about Daniel Faalele and just kind of like the things that are going on in this team where it seems like there's a little bit of favoritism being played. What's going on, ISO? I see you in the chat. There's a little bit of favoritism being played, and yes, we did lose Alex for a second. Lisa, I think he is maybe trying to reboot and come on back in a second here, but just bear with us. But yeah, it looks like there's definitely favoritism being played here. I'm not exactly sure what the point is in not giving Daniel Faalele any sort of competition at all. It just doesn't make any sense. Because if you think about it, if at some point in the playoffs, like I was mentioning like 10 minutes before, if at some point in the playoffs there's like a big third and long or something like that, the very last thing that you want to see is Daniel Faalele getting beat. Um, honestly, and I know this wasn't playoffs, I think about that Las Vegas Raiders game, the week 2 game from 2024, Ravens versus Raiders, where the Ravens actually lost that game. And one of the damning moments in that game was when Lamar Jackson, it was kind of like last ditch effort, third and whatever, maybe even fourth down. And Faalele just gets completely abused on his block, completely abused. And, there's a guy right in Lamar Jackson's face immediately. And that play was pretty much dead from the start. It was busted from the start because of that. I just, again, like like Alex has said, like I have said, like so many other people have said, like you guys have said, quite literally, there's no reason. There's no rhyme or reason at all for, Daniel Faalele to not even have any competition. Brandon Scherf was a guy that a lot of Ravens fans were kind of clamoring for the Ravens to go out and get. Brandon Scherf just retired today. Now, I don't know if that had anything to do like with him waiting so long, in the midst of training camp, in the midst of preseason, right before the season starts. I don't know if he was necessarily waiting for kind of like that new deal to come through. But let me see. Still a little bit robotic. Still robotic.
All right.
And
Well, oh man, you can hear me?
man, no. Mm. Weird stuff, man. Weird stuff. I don't know. I mean, it's the backups. It's the backups, man. That's all it is. That's Tanja says she can hear you, but I can't hear him. So maybe I need to reset. Maybe that's what it is. Uh Let's see something. Let's get him back in here. Let me see. Okay. I think it's me. Hold on. I'm gonna tell him to join back. Hear you better. All right, let's get him back in here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and reset. Maybe that way it'll be nice and fresh after that. Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and reset really quick. Alex, go ahead and finish your points, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it wasn't anything really crazy. I was just I was happy with obviously the return game in LeJohntay Wester. Um, I did watch the full of it. I was happy with some of the UDFA guys on defense. I thought they looked good. I thought Jalen Armour Davis looked really good defensive wise. Had a couple of pass breakups. Overall, really pleased with everything. Just kind of sucked, with the whole Daniel Faalele stuff. But that's neither here nor there. I kind of have to accept. I think that's what the Ravens want to do right guard wise, and I've kind of seen it in the press conferences, the way the coaches are defending him, the way players are defending him, and kind of even the way the Ravens media is defending him. I saw Ryan Mink put out like a cut up of Daniel Faalele's plays, which was kind of weird to me considering he was the same one who said that Lamar didn't deserve Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, or Mahomes money, but just all things that we remember, I think, as fans. So, I can't really take that with a whole lot of confidence, but that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm talking about Ryan Mink's tweet about Daniel Faalele.
What did he say? I didn't hear him.
Kind of just like having his back in a bit, but this was the same guy who said Lamar didn't deserve Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, or Patrick Mahomes money. Just very interesting to me.
I don't know. I mean, Ryan Mink, he's had a couple of controversial kind of takes over the past, I'd say, year or so. And by the way, the technical difficulties, I think we got them straight. I can hear Alex very well now. Hopefully you guys can both hear us well. If you can't, let us know in the chat. But yeah, man. And by the way, 50 people watching live right now. Thank y'all so much for joining this episode of the show. Like the video, subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. But yeah, I don't understand. I mean, I get like kind of being almost like a teacher's pet. Ryan Mink, Garrett Downing, those type of guys. Like, there's a reason why I don't really watch podcasts like The Lounge, right? There's a reason why I don't necessarily consume a whole lot of Ravens media. I just don't, because a lot of it's very cookie cutter. A lot of it's very like never adversarial to the team at all. Never any pushback towards the team. And like, I'm not really with that. I like objective journalism. You know what I mean? Like, look, tell us what it is and what it isn't. You don't have to try to grandstand for the company that you work for. But in their case, I get that they do. But yeah, I mean, like you were mentioning before, man, there's just absolutely no excuse, zero, zilch, nada, nothing, no excuse at all to not have any competition for number 77. I was talking about this the other day on a Quiet Storm. I was saying how there was a tweet that was going around about how Jeff Zrebiec was talking about what was happening at the with the left guard battle, right? And then somebody responds to Jeff Zrebiec's tweet and says, "Hey, what about the right guard battle? What's going on there?" And Jeff Zrebiec responds and says, "There is no competition at right guard." So, like I was saying the other day, this isn't even Daniel Faalele's job to lose because he's not going to lose it. It's his to keep, right? I don't know what Daniel Faalele would have to do to for the Ravens to justify benching him or trying something different. I just don't know at this point. And I mentioned Brandon Scherf being another option, but he just retired today too.
Yeah, and what I was saying was robotic. I don't know if you saw the tweet about Daniel Faalele, when he was still in Australia. That kind of made waves last week around Twitter.
No, I did not see that.
Okay, so it was from 2016. It was basically there was a project players in Australia. There's two of them, and Michigan. Just remember that Michigan had a virtual meeting with a couple of these guys, and I believe Harbaugh was at Michigan around that time. Jim Harbaugh, that is. So it's like Faalele has kind of been linked to this whole Harbaugh train. You know how the Harbaughs are. If they like you, they're gonna have your back. So
Yeah,
that kind of came out, and people were like, "Of course, they've known about him before we drafted him in 2021." So yeah, and my thing too with the whole right guard, what I'm mad about is we could have I think we could have re-signed Kevin Zeitler. We let him go, and we really haven't done anything to improve on that position. Other positions, we improved on it immediately. Jair Alexander gets cut. I'm not trying to compare the two, but jumped on it. I would love for us to jump on and maybe get a starting caliber right guard. Um, that's just me, but we haven't done it, and we haven't brought any competition, which leads me to believe they're comfortable with him. And from what film has shown recently, I know he'd have a good end of the season. I'm all for some competition, man, but it's not been brought in, and it's a detriment to this team. It really is.
yeah, absolutely. So we got Andrew G in the house. What's going on, Andrew? Appreciate you for coming through. Not sure if you're a first time listener or watcher, but we appreciate you for watching the stream and joining the Rain Gang family. Let me see. He says, agreed. Mink, Downing, and Zrebiec are very cookie cutter. Yeah, I mean they kind of wear the shield. They kind of wear the shield, right? And it's just when you're at a certain point in media and certain uh people are paying you and kind of feeding you, you kind of have to be. You kind of have to be.
Mhm.
So that's why I kind of stay away from their content. Again, nothing against those guys. Nothing against those guys, but I kind of stay away from their content. And that's another reason why I love, and this is a quick aside here. This is why I love the Ravens YouTube community, because you have so many different options of who you can listen to. And they're all going to give you their objective opinions. Like, they're not going to sugarcoat things. They're not going to, it's not going to be cookie cutter. They're not going to tiptoe around different topics like some of these other guys in the mainstream media would. But again, nothing against those guys, just not my preference. Just not my preference, because objectively speaking, Daniel Faalele is a problem. And like you said, once we let go of Kevin Zeitler, we never really addressed that position again. Officially, like the way that it should be addressed. Because we've seen the struggles of Faalele, and they've been going on for, you know, at this point over a year now, if we want to count
Yeah.
this last preseason game. So that is kind of like the hated part. I know you said hate is a strong word. Again, we
Yeah.
don't hate Daniel Faalele. We are big supporters of him. We want him to be a kick-ass right guard. That's what we
Yeah.
want, because that's what's going to be necessary for the Ravens to make it to, that next level, which is a Super Bowl. I mean, we're going to need an awesome offensive line, because we learn every year the playoffs is about what? The trenches.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring that up because I thought about like 2012, and we benched Michael Orr and started Bryant McKinney, and that kind of was a big reason why we won the Super Bowl. Was Joe Flacco had time to throw the ball, and surprise, surprise, absolutely balled out. Throwing the ball, was on fire those 4 games. It's small stuff like that that can literally win you a Super Bowl. Us Ravens fans should know that. So I just hope that we can see that, and like I said, it's not Faalele. I think the coaches are setting him up to fail, and they're going to get asked these questions, and they could easily answer them a different way, but saying that one play doesn't define you. Well, one play kind of defined our season last year. That was maybe Mark Andrews dropping the ball, or maybe him fumbling, or maybe this play or that play.
Mm,
One play really
yeah.
can define the whole season, and I don't want to see it with number 77 on his ass and our quarterback getting sacked. It's just that simple. So hopefully, let's get off of that dislike stuff. I would love talking more about good stuff about the Ravens.
Yeah, let's do
But
it.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah. So, I mean, over 60 people watching live right now. Thank y'all so much for coming through. Also, hello to the viewers watching on Kick, which we are now streaming live on as well. New viewership over there. So, shout out to you guys on that platform. But getting back to some of the good stuff, before we run into all the technical difficulties and things like that, how are you feeling about punt returner as it stands right now? Because I talked a lot about this on the last episode of the show. I was saying, like, man, I am very, very excited for LeJohntay Wester and what he can offer. Todd Monken said it himself this week. LeJohntay is going to make the team, right? He's going to make the team as a punt returner. He had an 87-yard touchdown return last week against the Colts, and he actually called the shot too. I'm not sure if you heard about what Willie Taggart has said about it. He literally told the Willie Taggart the day before the game, or maybe the day of the game. He said, "I'm going to make my mark on this city tonight at this game," and that's exactly what he did. A huge emphatic run, ran through a bunch of guys. I mean, the guy's just so fast. What was his 40 time? Do we know
I do
LeJohntay
not
Wester's
know.
40 time? Let
I
me
can
see.
definitely see if we can find it.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure he ran at the combine
4.46.
Okay. So I mean, really not that fast. Really not that crazy. I'm thinking like maybe this guy runs like a 4.3 at least, but a 4.4, I think honestly a lot of it is just like the one cut and then just getting north and then just the want to be able to run through defenders. Like not to slight guys like Zay Flowers, but as we know with Zay Flowers, he's more of like a shifty guy, east west, right? Of course, Zay Flowers doesn't return punt, so we don't have to worry about that in that facet. But a guy like LeJohntay Wester, because I saw him play at Colorado as well. Like he's really, really good at doing some of the things that Todd Monken wanted Zay Flowers to do when Todd Monken first got here. And I'm talking about the wide receiver screens and things like that. We saw LeJohntay Wester get some of those same type of gadget guy type plays at Colorado. And I think that is something that, since he's already going to be on the 53-man roster on game day, he's going to be on the game day roster. We can potentially see this guy come in on offense and make a big impact, because it seems like out in space, it's hard to bring this guy down. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, and you bring up, he was running with a purpose. Like, he's what, a 6th-round pick. He has nothing to lose. He has everything to gain. I think even after that first punt return he had, where he made a couple of guys miss and turn a negative into a positive, I'm like, all right, right now he should be a punt returner. Like after that, and then the touchdown was just cherry on top for me. I thought it was his to lose, and even after the first one, I'm like, yeah, it's his. And the second one, we took it back and said, yeah, this is a guy. He's gonna be the punt return, and for that, I really can't get mad at it. I mean, that was an unbelievable return that he had, and just kind of calling your shot. That stuff that really, really, really good athletes do, and just um, good competitors do. So I'm happy about that, and I don't want to see too much more of him. I maybe a couple of just some stuff in the offense. I think I've seen enough punt returning wise. I would like him to be the guy week 1 to start it off. So happy with that, and that's kind of what we were expecting out of him though. And as for the whole Zay Flowers stuff, yeah, I would love to see Zay be more of just a guy downfield, 10, 15-yard routes, and then for the stuff behind the line of scrimmage, Wester could take those. Not saying a bunch of them, but just kind of a change of pace guy you could have him back there. It's another question mark for defenses to really worry about, as if we didn't have enough at this point.
Yeah. And Tandra Bowman saying here that Todd Monken said himself, if Zay misses time, Wester can come in and do what Zay does. And that was a very, very interesting comment from Todd Monken, because if you are kind of going to plug and play Zay Flowers with a LeJohntay Wester without maybe even mentioning the likes of like a Tez Walker, I think that says something. I think that says a little something. I do expect Tez Walker to get some play in this next preseason game, and maybe potentially show what he can do as well with Cooper Rush at quarterback. But yeah, I mean, interesting stuff there from Todd Monken. Interesting that he defends Faalele so vehemently. Interesting that he says that Zay Flowers and LeJohntay Wester are somewhat interchangeable. I always like to say Todd Monken's got his work cut out for him. I think he truly does this season. But what did you think about? Let's go ahead and move on. What did you think about the pass rush?
Okay. I mean, how can't you be excited about Mike Greene? Number one, like this is a top 15 player that fell into our hands, and we know why. That's neither here nor there, but you can see why he was getting those first round grades. I think one on most of those on his rushes, the bend, that picture that went viral. It's very, very, very nice to see that. Was kind of just causing havoc, and against guys like Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson, who aren't small guys by any means. It's not like he's going up against a backup that is like a fifth or sixth round pick. No, these are first round guys, big frames. Hard to bring down. Just get a hand on them, and he was doing that. Ojabo was nice to see him. Get the sack on Richardson. I'm happy Richardson isn't severely hurt. That was good to see, but I still think it's uphill battle for Ojabo. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
A sack that you got because Anthony Richardson didn't know what type of pressure was coming. I still need to see something from you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's not enough for me. I thought a couple of the guys, younger guys in defensive line, not saying they make cases to start, but they definitely are making case to maybe make the roster, even a practice squad guy if they get cut. That was good to see. So no Kyle Van Noy, no Owe, unfortunately, our starters day one. But from who I think is going to make some noise this year, Mike Greene, really good to see, and Malachi Starks as well. Like to see what he was doing out there in coverage, getting straight to the ball, just running like a freaking torpedo at it.
Yeah, and the thing about Mike Greene is that he will probably end up getting, I don't want to say buried down the depth chart, but
Yeah,
he's going to have to fight for snaps. He's going to have to earn his keep and make the absolute most out of any opportunity that he gets, because I think, with the track record of the Baltimore Ravens, they value vets, right? They value their veterans more than pretty much anything else, right? They are going to trot out Kyle Van Noy and Odafe Owe and force, and they have every right to do so because both of those guys had double-digit sacks last season, both of them. So you kind of got to give them their respect in that regard, but just the pure upside of what a Mike Greene can offer, because we've talked about it time and time again. I think we talked about it with Ryan from the Flock Rundown, another really good Ravens YouTube content creator. We talked about it with him. We said that it's not necessarily about the amount of sacks that the Ravens are getting, especially in the regular season. It's more so about the timing of these sacks, right? Like where in the fourth quarter, right, when the going really does get tough and it's really crunch time, right? And you need your defense to get some pressure and maybe force a bad throw, force an incompletion, force an interception, force a fumble, something like that. Unforced errors or forced errors, I'm sorry, is what you need from your defensive line. And I think that a Mike Greene, every time he comes in, he's got to make it his mission. And I know all these guys do coming off the edge, but especially as a young guy like Mike Greene, who the coaches are not going to let him get a whole lot of playtime unless he's just absolutely undeniable. You got to
yeah,
be undeniable if you're Mike Greene. And that the Ravens coaching staff, they don't really have the training wheels on him too long because we're in win now mode. We need this guy right now to win. But I mean, like you said, other spots on the defensive line as well. I think, when it comes to depth on the interior D line, it does kind of worry me a little bit because after Travis Jones and Nnamdi Madubuike, who are both really, really good players, Travis Jones ended the season on a bum ankle last year, didn't perform too well in the playoffs. Urban, you're looking at John Jenkins, you're looking at um, CJ Ravenel. I mean, like we're
yeah,
just not a whole lot of guys there, that we're really depending on, especially late in games. And I
yeah.
was talking about this the other day too, like late in games, and we saw this a little bit last year. Teams were able to run on us a little bit, you
Mm-hmm.
know, especially without Michael Pierce. Teams were able to run on us, and guess what? No more Michael Pierce. He's done. He's retired. So week one, James Cook, you know what I mean? Not so worried about Browns running backs, but week three, you got Sonic and Knuckles. Like, there's gonna be some tough stretches, I think, with this defensive line potentially getting pushed around maybe later in games, which puts more pressure on the offense, to be honest. So that's one kind of like point of emphasis to me. Not a lot of people are talking about a small hole on this team is defensive line, like that interior part of the defensive line. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's what's holding us back from being, I think, the best pound for pound team in the league. I think offensive wise, we can stack up with most offenses, but defensively, obviously, secondary, we have, I think, one of the best, if not the best. I'm not going to have that argument right now because got a long way to go. But when you look at our front, 100%, you're right. Like after Travis Jones and Madubuike, who are you really that worried about? And I know we signed John Jenkins to take over Michael Pierce, but it's hard to replace a guy like Michael Pierce. Like, that's a literal run-stuffing defensive tackle. Two guys have to block him because, he's not to be funny, but that big and, that hard to block. Brent Urban coming back, I mean, I'm not mad at it. It's cool for depth and it's cool for, like, vibes, but how much productivity are you going to get out of him? And I'm, like I said, I'm not trying to be rude or anything. Andis Peebles, I am kind of excited about him. The way he was coming out of Virginia Tech, he had I think a third round grade. I want to say it's like he was one of the steals we got. But year one, how much of an impact you're going to make? So after Travis Jones and Madubuike, who is going to step up and say, I deserve to be here? I can stop this run. I can help out. Not many people. I see guys mention about Roquan. Yeah, linebackers have to step up as well. Roquan Smith didn't think he had the best year last year. Looks a little bit slimmer. I'll tell you that. I saw the one video of them swimming. Think, he lost some weight over the offseason, so hopefully he can show me something. Trenton Simpson, you have a huge target on your back now. I think people are going to target you. And then Teddy Buchanan, what can you show me that you can start? So I think the linebacker, too, is kind of an open spot right now, unless Simpson can take it over. But backup defensive line and that whole next Roquan is kind of my bigger question mark for this defense. I think your mic's muted.
Oh yeah, sorry.
There we go.
We got Tila in the house. What's going on, Tila? Another one of our Purple Rain patrons. We appreciate you. Again, goated individuals. Tanja Bowman says, what did we get John Jenkins for if he is not good?
Depth.
I mean, I think it's just depth. That's all it is. I mean, you're going to need, at the end of the day, you're going to need some big bodies down there in order to stop the run, a rushing attack, a lot of these good teams that we're going to be playing this season. So it is what it is. He is a nose tackle as well. So, okay, so moving on here, I want to bring up a few more things. Hold on. So, like, what can we expect from this Cowboys game? I was actually looking at the Cowboys side of things, and I think we're going to see a whole lot of Joe Milton, which I'm excited for personally. I'm a big Joe Milton fan. I know he's a very raw talent. Doesn't have a whole lot of touch right now, but they said he struggled. He struggled last week. The Dallas Cowboys also struggled with penalties in a really bad way last week. I think they had 11 penalties in their first game. And they also had 19 missed tackles as well. So, if I'm the Ravens, I'm going into this game, and if I'm one of these guys looking to make the 53-man roster, I'm licking my chops, right? Especially one of these skill position guys, even if I'm a Cooper Rush, this should be the Cooper Rush revenge game. Cooper Rush has got to bounce back, get the ball in these guys' hands, and let them, kind of run after the catch and make plays and get opportunities, create opportunities for themselves. That's what I'm looking for. Specifically from the quarterbacks and wide receivers in this one. But what are you most looking forward to in the Cowboys versus Ravens matchup?
You bring up Joe Milton, how he's raw. I'm looking at the secondary. I think there were some throws last week. I mean, you could see why Joe Milton's not a starter. But you can see why there is, fans like us that kind of see that potential. If he can just get the accuracy down, he can be a serviceable guy in this league. And there were times where he had a guy open, overthrew him, or put too much zip on the ball. Like he will sling that thing, and I'm looking at our secondary and guys like Jalen Armour Davis, backup safeties. I'm looking at the depth in our defensive back room. Like, there is an open competition there after Nate Wiggins, Marlon Humphrey, Jair Alexander. Maybe Awuzie plays this week. I would not be surprised. But, the guys behind them, Bo Braid, safety, looking at you. Sanusi Kane, looking at you. Ardarius is out probably till November. You're going to have spots in games where you can come in. How can you shut them down? Cowboys, I'm not too hip on their backup receivers. Obviously, Pickens and CD won't play, but I would like to see how our guys do against them and how we can handle the deep ball. And kind of go back to the offense, the line as well. Can we protect Cooper Rush? Because I'll tell you this: Cooper Rush and Larry last week, that was just awful quarterback play. Devin Leary, I not trying to be rude. I don't know how he has a roster spot. I mean, he'll be cut. He's not going to make the team. I have never been impressed by him playing for us in the past 2 years in the
No.
preseason. You have shown nothing, no untapped potential, no nothing. Like it's not there. Practice squad is cool, I guess, if he makes it, get the paycheck. But as for Cooper Rush, you can't be throwing balls like he did last week. I think it was a DPI. It got called OPI. You still can't be throwing those balls. So, and like you said, Tez Walker, I want to know why he's been hyped up. I want to see it in the game, not in practice. I want to see us throw to guys like maybe Dayton Wade. See, I've heard he has good hands. Heard at training camp he had good hands. Tylan Wallace if he plays. And then our backup tight ends, because we're going to be down likely for a couple of weeks. So what guy can step up? Is it Scotty Washington? Heard good things about him. So just kind of not have such a vanilla offense. It's preseason. Who cares if we lose? Do some new things, and let me see what type of talent we have in this offense.
Yeah, totally agree there. I mean, what I want to ask you next is this, right? So we saw actually a lot of starters did get some play time in week 1 of the preseason. John Harbaugh came out yesterday and basically just shut down the idea that any of the starters will be playing in the week 2 preseason game, which kind of told me like how confident and how direct he was in his answer kind of tells me that we're not even going to see them in week 3. So just forget about it now. So are you of the school of thought, because it's probably been a while since we talked about this, but are you of the school of thought that these guys do need live game reps? They should play a couple of drives in the preseason, or are you of the school of thinking that, hey, like just put these guys in bubble wrap and do not take them out until September 7th against Buffalo?
Yeah, I was of that school of thought until, J.K. Dobbins tore his ACL. I would like to see our guys maybe play a drive or two, but unfortunately, I understand why, especially last week with Anthony Richardson. One miscommunication, and could have been a lot worse for him. I would love to play guys, but I think John Harbaugh suffers from PTSD, and I think I would as well. So I get why he doesn't play them. Although teams like I see the Chiefs, they put their guys out there. I see the Bengals threw their guys out there because they are 1-11 in the past 6 years in weeks 1 and 2. I see why they do it, but Don Rule says no with Lamar with Faalele blocking and stuff like that. Yeah, imagine he gets pancaked and Lamar doesn't see a guy coming, on his blind side and he gets laid out.
I mean, but
Stuff like
that could
game.
happen week 4 against the Chiefs. Chris Jones could just swim right by him and just land his whole 300 and whatever pounds right on top of Lamar Jackson. So my thing is this. I'm not an advocate of playing guys more than 2 possessions, like full halves, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I'm not with that. I get the Bengals, they get off to very, very slow starts pretty consistently. So they want their guys to play a little bit more, that sort of thing. Cool. I'm just asking for a couple of live reps because everybody that you talk to in the league, I think Lamar Jackson has even said it himself. There's nothing that replicates that live game action, that getting hit and what that does to you, right? Like kind of like the switch that it flips in your brain that, okay, it's football time again. I just got hit by a guy who's not in a Ravens jersey. This is not two-hand touch anymore. This is not just wrap up. I'm not wearing a red jersey, so I can't get touched. Like this is real shit. Like I think that's important. And to be honest with you, with the way that the schedule starts this year, Alex, with the way that the schedule starts this year. By the way, shout out to our guy Gerald in the chat. What's going on, Gerald? Says hello, Rain Gang. Miss hanging with the Purple Rain Gang. Yes, sir. We miss having you here, brother. Legend of the show. Legend of the show. But yeah, with the way that the schedule starts, Alex, the Ravens can ill afford to drop game 1 and game 4. Those 2 games, Bills, Chiefs, you got to win those because by the time the season ends, those are going to be the tie-breaking teams. Like we all know the AFC is so predictable in the big 2025, right? We know who's going to be there at the end of the race. We know it's going to be the Bills and Josh Allen. It's going to be Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and Lamar and the Ravens. So for me, I would much rather not travel back to a Buffalo. I would much rather not travel to a Kansas City. And specifically talking about Buffalo, where it can snow and that can potentially impact the game and things like that. Not to make excuses or anything like that, but listen, home field advantage is home field advantage, right? Like, take advantage of that, and we got to win those games. And I think that we do that by maybe playing a few guys in the preseason, getting them those live game reps, so that way we do not start slow. The last thing I want to see is Sunday Night Football, and the Ravens are getting a bunch of false start penalties, this and that. I just don't want that. I can't have it.
I agree, and I saw a stat. We were a Kyle Hamilton dropped interception away from playing the Buffalo Bills in Baltimore in the divisional round. So small
Yeah,
margins like that. It's very small margins like that that can win you, lose you, knock you out the playoffs. It really is small stuff like that. So yeah, I would like to see guys play, but I think it's both Harbaugh brothers. I saw Justin Herbert asked to play in the preseason, and Jim Harbaugh said, "No, not happening."
not happening.
So
Yeah.
I don't think it's players. I think it's just coaches and their philosophies, and the Harbaughs obviously don't want to play the starters in preseason.
Yeah, I just I get it, but at the same time, if the Ravens start out real slow and they end up
Yep.
going 0-1 to the Bills, it means a whole lot more than just 0-1. You know, kind of like the Chiefs game from last year. Go ahead.
And I hate to say it, if we're being honest, week 2 is a trap game like no other. Um, the Browns, I'm sorry, like we have not swept them in a couple of years,
Yeah.
and I'll be honest, that's kind of embarrassing. You should be sweeping them. They are not a good team, and their quarterback situation just got even crazier. More than I thought it would be, with Shador missing Saturday. Um, I think Flacco is going to be the starter in week 2, and he's going to want to come into Baltimore and win. So I hate playing teams with nothing to lose because they just doesn't matter to them. They have no expectation. So if they beat us, it's their Super Bowl.
Yeah, and see, I think it could be a trap game as well, but I do think that our pass rush will be good enough to really get to Joe Flacco and kind of neutralize what he's able to do there.
Yeah.
Uh, kind of shifting gears a little bit. How do you feel about Shador Sanders?
I didn't. The media was treating like this guy never threw a ball. Like if you watch him in college, like he could throw. Just he would just take bad sacks, and that was unfortunately would run out too much and get sacked. But the throwing was never a problem. Like they're treating like this guy is his first game at quarterback. I'm like, if you watch him, he could do this. Like I wasn't surprised. I was really happy for him. Like especially like the way he did it. I was like, all right, good for you. And I was happy to see the love he was getting because especially online there was some discourse, but I was really happy for him. And it
Yeah.
sucks that he did hurt himself because I want to watch him live this week, but it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and he's rumored to not be playing against the Eagles in their second preseason game, and that does suck because the Browns were literally about to be must-see TV this weekend.
Yeah.
You know, if Shador Sanders does not, you know, do whatever he did to his oblique earlier
Yeah.
this week. So, you know, what else did I want to bring up to you? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Go ahead. It sounded like you had something on your
Rashee
mind.
Rice.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Rashee Rice.
It's not even hidden anymore. It's not. It's
The
not hidden.
allegations.
It's not hidden. And I don't want to be that guy, but there's guys suspended right now for gambling. We have clear, concrete evidence of this man racing and fleeing a scene. And the hearing September 30th. So, like any good person, I'm like, you know what? Let me look at the schedule. Let me see what games he's missing now. So he'll be able to play the first 4 games, and then I think he'll get a 4-game suspension. So he'll miss the Jags game, Detroit game, Raiders, and Commanders. You know what game he's eligible to return?
What's that?
The Bills.
Buffalo.
The
Yeah.
Bills. So this guy's gonna play 4 games, miss 4, and be fully healthy for a game
But
against the
wait,
Bills.
it's not confirmed he's gonna miss 4 though, right?
It's not confirmed, no. But I think that was the consensus of like it's probably gonna be a 4-game suspension, which to me I won't get into that, but I still don't think that's enough. But so he'll be able to play against the Chargers, Eagles, Giants, and Ravens. And this is the Jags, Lions, Raiders, Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Lions and Commanders games I think should be tough for the Chiefs. I'm very excited for that Commanders game. Commanders versus Chiefs is going to be honestly just the names of those two teams alone just kind of makes it feel like a big matchup. You know, it's been a long time since both of those two teams were really good and squaring off with each other. So I'm excited for that one. I think it's October 7th or 8th, something like that. I want to say. But and Tila says in the chat, she says, "How convenient? How convenient is that, right? I agree with you, Tila. How convenient is that? That the first 4 games, 3 out of those 4. I mean, we're talking, bro. Baltimore, and again, that's the 4th week. But Chargers, the second best team in their division, right out the gate on a neutral field to start the season, right? And then you have the Eagles. You got to get your look back against the Eagles, right? The defending Super Bowl champions. Then you get a little break against the Giants, but the Giants, their pass rush this year is no slouch, right? So like it could be a walk in the park, but at the same time, Mahomes might be running for his life in that one. And then you have week 4 against the Baltimore Ravens. So it's like, why not give the Chiefs a little extra help, right? Last year, when the Ravens played the Chiefs in week 1, I believe Rashee Rice recorded 7 catches for over 100 yards receiving in that game. No touchdowns, but 7 catches for 10 something. That is obviously Patrick Mahomes' number 1 option. And the fact that he's going to be going into this season basically with a whole unit of all of his guys with nobody really, to be missing, so to say. It seems like they found their left tackle in Josh Simmons, rookie. It seems like the Chiefs, they're in a good spot right now. Very ideal for the Chiefs. Yeah.
I know football is well and truly back when I have Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift on my timeline. I know football is back.
Talk
And
about
I'm just
it.
going to say something right now. I have never seen a more attention-hungry set of brothers than the Kelsey brothers. I really have never seen it before. I got to applaud it. I've never seen a guy change his persona more than Travis Kelsey. I won't get into that, but we know what I'm talking about. Never seen that persona change so much. But that's how I know that football is back when I have Adam Schefter tweeting about a pop star on my TL.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for this. I follow you for NFL transactions.
I know, but Taylor Swift, she's reportedly, kind of ushered in over $1 billion worth of revenue and value to the NFL since she's kind of been, because now at this point, it's been since 2023 that they've been like a public item. Yeah, this is year 3 of them being together. So I could see the NFL really eating this up. And this is something that you kind of got to report on. Taylor Swift is one of the biggest stars in the world now. Do I necessarily want to see her on the screen all the time during games? Not necessarily. I don't. I'd rather watch football. I think Colin Cowherd said today, he was like, there's only actually like 12 minutes of actual football being played while you're watching a 3-hour football game, right? So there's a lot of other filler in there. So why not throw in Taylor Swift for like 30, 34 seconds or something like that? Okay, fine, cool. But at the same time, I didn't just wait 6 months. You know what I'm saying? To see Taylor Swift. Like, I want to hear Joe Buck, Troy Aikman. I want to hear Tony Romo, Jim Nance. I want to hear all those voices. I don't really care to see Taylor Swift in the stands. I just don't. But I will say this about the Kelseys, because you said, I got to give you some pushback here. Both Kelseys, number one, Jason's already retired. Travis is on the verge of retirement. So I do understand.
I'm throwing a party for that one.
I understand. Travis has never sat right with me ever since he, tossed the kicker thing from old J Tug in the AFC Championship game, before the AFC Championship game. I was just like, that was totally unnecessary, but I get it. You're trying to send a message. But I think that Travis and Jason are really trying to set themselves up for like after their playing careers. Jason's already kind of ushered himself into that post-playing season of his life, and Travis is kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He said it himself. Travis is 1 foot in, 1 foot out right now. Like, and that's why he hadn't really been performing as well last season, because he was focused on the podcast. He's focused on the Hollywood side of things, because that's what's next for him in life.
Good riddance. But I'll tell you what, when you mentioned showing her, like, my head was on Mars when that first touchdown they scored against us in 2023, the AFC Championship, and they cut to her. Man, I was heated. Like, that's just like, it's like when you're playing your friend in like a video game and like they watch the replay. Like, that's kind of what it felt like. Like, don't watch replay. But it's all good. I mean, they'll show her once we beat them in the AFC Championship this year. We're fine. It has to happen, right? It has to happen.
At the bank. At the bank.
Yeah.
We got to get our look back at the bank. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
We do.
Speaking it into existence, man. But listen, guys, we're going to go ahead and stop there for this episode of the show. About an hour in, still almost 80 people watching live. Thank y'all so much for joining. Make sure you like this video, because guess what? there's going to be a lot more Ravens content coming your way. The season is right around the corner. As you know,
UFC.
Oh, yeah, I've been going live every day. UFC 319 is this weekend. I didn't even ask you about the UFC Paramount deal. Jeez, it's been a while since we talked. But listen, man, before we get out of here, I've been thinking a lot about Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev this weekend. I am still picking Dricus du Plessis to win the fight. I'm picking him to win. Although my mind is telling me Khamzat, because Khamzat, the type of fighter he is, man, he doesn't respect you, right? He literally shows up and fights you as if you guys are both there to just watch him whoop your ass. Like, he's not showing up to compete with you. He's showing up to violate you. And like, that's how he moves. I think that Dricus is a guy who, is a big middleweight. I think he can probably maybe stuff one or two of the takedowns. He's going to get taken down eventually, but I think he's big and strong enough to find his way back up. And if he can find himself in those later rounds with Khamzat, it could get ugly for Khamzat, but that's going to be fight of the year to me.
Oh, I always go against Khamzat. I don't like him. I don't like his style of fighting, but he just wins. He's a winner, and I feel like he's gonna win. But I hope Dricus wins. I hope he does, but I think Khamzat wins. Unfortunately.
Real quick, why don't you like Khamzat's style of fighting?
Well, you have to think too. I'm also a Kevin Holland fan. I still have like the whole hand tap thing in my head.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
was
still
dirty.
rubs really dirty. Yeah, but he sits there and like it's just like for me, it's just suffocating to watch because like I want to see like a back and forth, but he just is that good. He just is winning the whole fight for me, and just like what's gonna happen. To me, it's predictable of how good he is, and I think that's gonna happen again. I hope it doesn't, but I fully am expecting him to win. I have to check the odds on that too, see what it's going, who the favorite is.
But I think that's what makes him so fun to watch, because and everybody in the arena knows, and his opponent knows exactly what he wants to do. It's just a matter of, can you stop it? It's like saying, what the Ravens are going to do when they come to town. They are going to run the football. It might not be as entertaining, as flashy as Justin Herbert throwing for 5,000 yards or Joe Burrow throwing to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase all over the field. It may not look as flashy as that, but at the end of the day, it's a war of attrition, right? Just like football is, so is fighting, And like, I think there's some entertainment value in knowing exactly what a guy's game plan is, but just wondering if the other guy can stop it. So I don't know. That's just me.
Khamzat minus 260. Dricus plus 196.
Wait, what book is that?
FanDuel.
Interesting. CBS had it minus 220 for Khamzat. So minus 260 is, wow. Jeez, man. Look, you didn't hear this from me, but sprinkle in a little bit of dough on Dricus money line. I'm telling you. And if you really want to get crazy, Dricus money line plus over 1.5 rounds, total rounds.
There you go.
Right there.
There you go.
That 2-leg parlay right there could win you some money, some big money potentially this weekend for UFC 319. So, we're going to go ahead and leave it there for this episode 326, I believe, of the Purple Rain podcast. Again, appreciate all of you guys for coming through to this one. Again, all of our members in the house, a lot of them are in full effect in the chat right now. Tila M, Chris M, I saw Jing in there as well. The Don was in here earlier, I believe. But listen, man, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys, and make sure you stay locked in to the Purple Rain podcast YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. You can get it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify if you want to run it back audio later on. We'd appreciate that as well. But until next time, my name is Sutton Def. That is simply AS10. And I'm going to let my guy Alex, for the first time in a long time, take us out.
Thank you for coming through this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. You guys have a nice, safe weekend. And thank you for coming through to episode 326 of the Purple Rain podcast. We love you. Appreciate you. And as always, stay positive, test negative.
Yes. And never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call gods. Episode 326 of PRP. We're going to catch you guys in the next one.